understand. I offered Josh like significantly more for basically the same thing. I went for Achan, Trey McBride, and then I went for Drake London instead of Devontae Adams. Granted, that's probably I'm asking for more, but I offered him Marvin Harrison. I offered him um, DeAndre Swift. I offered him, I think, Devonta Smith, and then also Patrick Mahomes because he didn't have a quarterback. 4 for 3.
But you got to think what he gave away for Devontae Adams too. He gave me Kenneth Walker and freaking Mike Evans, and now he's
Yeah,
selling Devontae Adams
for
for
Alexander Madison, who he's going to drop. And
that's to
Bucky
me is the
Irving.
crazier part. I'm like, dude, you flipped him for worse. Like, I get Devontae Adams is underperforming, but like at that point you have to hold on to him to see what happens. But
Yeah, I don't really get it.
we are live. We have been live for the last 2 minutes. Seamless transition. Welcome back to the To Be Fair Fantasy Football Podcast. It's been a week. Us Bengals fans are loathing in pain. The referee crew needs to all take their little trip down to LASIK Vision. 3 illegal hands to the face. 1 holding call later. And here we are. But, nevertheless, we are still somehow in playoff contention because the rest of the AFC stinks. But we will get to all of that right after this intro.
For Monday night, it's a kid.
Welcome back to the show. We're just discussing my many failures as a host / document writer. There's something wrong with me when I do these matchups. I don't know. Every once in a while, I just glaze over games. That's why we get someone to double check it, triple check it. It's all right. But like I said, this is the To Be Fair Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Johnny. To my left is Chris. Beneath me is Nick. And we're happy to have you. Please, if you have any questions, inquiries, concerns, leave them in the live chat. I have it up this time. I'm ready to go. We've been on it, like we said. We haven't had to give you any nuggets of wisdom lately because there's not been a lot of great waiver pickups. There's not been a lot of replacements. So it's just kind of been riding out what you got, and that's not been great. But it's okay. We will power through the season as everybody drops like flies. First and foremost, we will get to the current standings. And let me tell you, it was another tight race this week. I counted the game from last Monday night. I don't remember now off the top of my head. I think Nick was right and Chris and I were wrong. Or yeah, Nick.
It was Monday night.
It was Chiefs and Niners. I want to say no, Bucks and Chiefs. Bucks and Chiefs. They played last Monday. Nick got that one right. Chris and I got that wrong. That being said, we counted that plus this week's games, excluding tonight's game, obviously, into the totals. Updated standings are still in first place at 54-28. We have Chris, who went 8-6 this week, sitting tied for second now at 52-29. Who went 8-6 is me, and tied for second at 52-29. Who went 9-5, Nick. Nick, you look confused. What's your question?
That math doesn't add up.
Why not? You were down by 1.
Chris has an extra game on us.
Like overall totals?
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it, honestly.
It would be 53-29 if he had an extra loss, and we're only 52-29. You're cheating. Chris is cheating.
I think. Hold on, I could pull up the last week doc. I might.
I how long it's been like that.
My
I
math.
wonder if we've always been like that.
My math just might be bad.
Let's find out. Quick math. 2 + 2 is 4.
What was last week's doc? 11-4.
Okay, so if you go 54-28, that's an overall of 82 games. 52 and 29 is
Tyreek
81.
Hill touchdown.
You were correct.
Let's go.
So yeah, I
Well,
have an extra game,
what
so
I
I
say
probably
you
should be
went
53 and
8 and
28.
6.
Huh?
Live update. Tyreek Hill touchdown.
Hey, he did something.
Let's go.
He's alive.
I need him to do that again.
See, it says you went 8 and 6
You probably just accidentally gave me an extra game somewhere
this
in
week.
the win column, more than likely.
I'm looking. So 22, 6, 28, 8, 40. Yeah, I think you are 53. Oopsie.
Good catch.
He's still in the lead,
Yeah.
but just by 1 game instead of 2.
Well, what are we? Who called what tonight on tonight's game? Just out of curiosity.
Oh,
If you have last week's,
I do, yeah. Ah! Nick and Chris called the Dolphins, and I have the Rams. Not looking good for me, but I have hope. All right, let me switch back over to this week's doc. But anyways, the standings are Chris at 53 and 28. Can somebody update that? I have it up on my phone, so it's kind of tricky. And then me and Nick are tied for second at 52 and 29. Nick had the best week this week overall at 9 and 5. We will now move on to this week's matchups, and I must apologize. Last week, I missed the game. Was that this week? Was that last week?
yeah, we missed the Germany.
Yeah,
game.
last week I missed the Germany game, and it's because it didn't register to me as a flaming pile of British garbage. Because I see the London flag, and it just gets me a little antsy. The German flag, bad history, but it doesn't hit me quite the same way as the London flag. And in the wake of the election that we won, Trump 2024, I was just so ecstatic that I didn't even have time to worry about it. We were just...
If there's anything else to that game was, on paper,
yeah, hot cross buns. Schnitzel.
Yeah.
All right. But this week, I think we've got it right because somebody double-checked me. And we're starting off, should be strong. We've got the Commanders at the Eagles. Thursday night football. Al Michaels doing his thing. Kirk Herbstreit. Rip Ben, his dog.
Ben.
Next dog up. And do we have any injuries there?
I don't think so, really. I mean, Brian Robinson's really the only one you're going to want to monitor. Brian Robinson, I think this is 2 weeks in a row now that he's missed, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It's painful. In his absence, though, Austin Eckler, start him.
Being awesome.
He had 2 touchdowns.
Awesome.
He had 2 touchdowns this last week. He could have had a third, but they pulled him for McNichols to give him a little work. But he could have for sure had a third. But if he does not start Eckler because that old man's got a little bit of life left in him.
Yeah. So, I mean, monitor that. But other than that, I mean, not anybody else. Eagles are basically healthy for the most part. Dallas Goedert went out again, but I think he ended up coming back. So you're playing all those guys. It is something to note. You guys obviously are haters of Devonta Smith, but he has been battling. Specifically this last week, they came out and said that he has a hammy injury.
Look it up.
I don't know if that matters or if this is just happenstance or if this is something you can monitor, like pinpoint to say, like, we told you so, whatever you want to say. Just obviously it was a bad week again. So
We'll keep an eye on it. I personally am going to take the Commanders. I think the Eagles don't have what it got to tango with the Commanders.
Wow.
I think it's the Eagles. I think they figured it out.
Yeah, after their great performance last week. I'm taking the Eagles as well, though.
All right, moving on to the 1 p.m. slot. We got Green Bay at Chicago. Caleb Williams looked like a rag doll this week. Poor guy was flopping around on the ground like a dead fish.
Dude, he looks like 2 different players.
I've never seen a Hail Mary destroy a team so badly.
They're in shambles.
Yeah.
They sat that guy. The team, they offensively they looked horrendous. I mean, there was nothing. Roma Dunze was worthless. DJ Moore has been worthless all year. Keenan Allen has like 1 week with like 12 targets and a touchdown, and then the next week he'll have like 1.
Keenan Allen has been just. I'm circling him for at the end of the year. Maybe we'll do a segment of biggest disappointments, biggest additions. He's got to be most useless moves in the offseason. One of the just biggest letdowns.
Problem is, I don't know that it's really on him.
No,
I mean,
but
you're
still,
right,
it's
been bad.
disappointing.
It's just like, yeah, definitely disappointing, especially after the career year he had at the age of 53 or whatever he's at now. Last year.
Yeah, it was not good for anybody last week. You're hoping they return to form. Obviously, you're watching out for Jordan Love's groin injury. I saw some
He'll play.
Twitter doctors guessing if it was fake or not after his terrible performance. We'll see. That being said, I'm taking Green Bay in that game.
Yeah, I don't see a
Me
world where Green
too.
Bay doesn't win.
Onward to the promised land. We have Baltimore at Pittsburgh, and let me tell you, Pittsburgh just keeps doing it. I've never seen Russell Wilson dance like that before in my entire life, but when he got him to jump off sides, he was doing the shimmy. He was
I
feeling
can see that.
his CTE was in full force.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. The Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields experiment this week is the decider.
It's working.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not convinced, only because I'm with you. Circling back to our conversation we had about Russell Wilson's ability just to throw the ball and give his guys a chance. Clearly, that's in effect. I'm not going to argue against that. The rushing he had that one first week he had, it's gone. We knew that wasn't going to continue. So you just teetered on the scale. You got rid of the runs and you started throwing more. That's fine. But to that point, the the catch that George Pickens had for their touchdown, like 70% of the receivers in the NFL don't do that. That dude is like contorting his body, diving backwards. I just think this might be one of those examples where I don't know that those guys are actually that good. George Pickens, I think, is good, but I don't think Russ is. I just think it's a perfect fit where it's a guy who's willing just to like throw it up, and he's known for this like super arch where he gets got trillion years under it. So
I think
what I'm getting at is this is going to be the first test because everybody that they've played up to this point has been a cakewalk.
Baltimore's defense is a cakewalk. They're literally making everyone work.
That's not entirely true. They played the Jets, who have a good pass defense, like top 5. But when they played the Jets, they had a top 5 pass defense.
But here's my point. Even that, like
not now though.
Here's my
when the
point
Steelers
though
played
is,
the Jets.
but they were having bad weeks before that with the Jets as well. Like they've been a team that's like super inconsistent. The Jets on paper should be really good, but there's like really bad.
But if you're a top 5 pass
is,
defense, you're a top 5 pass defense. It doesn't matter what happens.
Talking about
that's like saying Drake or Patrick was statistically the best corner for coverage, and we all know he was horrendous, but it was because they had a trillion overthrows and underthrows.
Well, sure, you could lose a game, but I'm just saying specifically we're talking about a quarterback performing as a quarterback against a pass defense. You can't say he's played no good defense if he's played a top 5 pass defense.
I don't know that they are top 5 pass defenses.
I'm telling you, they were when he played them. Like they were number 3. I looked it up.
even still, the other part to that equation is, even if that's true, if they have played the Jets, they were top 5. They haven't played an offense yet. That's for darn sure that they've played a bunch of nobodies up to this point. And the good offenses that they have played, like the Jets, for instance, on paper, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Breece Hall, sucked that week for whatever reason. So this is what I mean by this is a test. Nick's right. Obviously, Baltimore's defense hasn't been great, but they're going to stop the run, so they're going to force Russell Wilson to have to throw the ball a lot. And then secondly, whatever you want to say about Pittsburgh's defense, Baltimore's going to score.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess I'm confused. What are you looking for here? to prove to you that
I'm
he's.
more just saying this is like a temperature check of like, I think you could have started Fields or Russell Wilson in every one of these games, and you would have gotten the same outcome. Justin Fields probably has more rushing yards and more rushing touchdowns than Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson, I think, definitely would have more passing yards, passing touchdowns. But I think that the outcome of a win in the games that they've played would be the same. They would have the same record. I don't think it changes anything. So this week in particular is like one of those, you're playing a good team.
I don't think it's going to change. I don't think it'll matter if.
It's always a hypothetical.
Well, I'm just saying Joe Burrow threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns against him. He lost. I'm going to sit here and say that's. Russell Wilson could throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns and they could lose. And then we could say, well, Justin Fields could have ran for 5 touchdowns. So
that's my point.
Yeah.
If the way you beat the Ravens on defense is by throwing. So if Russell Wilson comes out and he throws for 500, then like, my bad. That's crazy. And he did it. And that's how you have to do it. If he comes out and he's been doing like 2 touchdowns and like 220 yards, it's not bad, but it's not like that's some groundbreaking week. And that's, as far as fantasy is concerned, that's like a very mediocre waiver wire ad on a bye week. So if he does that again against Baltimore, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying one way or the other. You can't make a judgment call in 1 week. So
I'm taking Pittsburgh in the upset. They're going to sneak a win out.
I don't think so. I think it's the Ravens.
Yeah, I know. He's doing it. He's going to do it. He's going to join me. He's foreseeing it.
yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh. I think the Ravens are in the same. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the Ravens and the Chiefs to crumble to the ground. I think the Ravens and the Chiefs are on one side of the teeter-totter, and the Bengals are on the other side. And the slightest momentum shift could cause either team to either skyrocket or plummet to the core of the earth.
The difference is I think the Ravens still have a really good offense. Like, clearly they're putting up a lot of points.
But their defense is horrible.
Yeah, specifically the pass defense is really bad.
I mean, they're literally on the other side of the equation of the Bengals. They're on the other side of the one-score games. Like, that's the only difference. They're winning the one-score games, and we're losing them all. So, it's just, I think that T.J. Watt is enough to disturb them. Unless Derrick Henry becomes Derrick Henry, which it's odd when he is and when he's not. For some reason, he isn't when he plays the Bengals, who don't have a good run defense at all.
And it's been like that
forever.
Like 4 years. Yeah, every time we've ever played him. It's weird.
It's odd, but I don't think there's very many injuries in that game.
But it's not Lou, right? I'm just kidding.
That is an off-topic. Off-limits subject we will never agree on.
That will derail the podcast.
Yeah, it
would next hour.
It would be hours long. You know what? Yeah, it would not be good. No injuries, but for the millionth time, go pick up Mark Andrews. He has a touchdown. He's back to his old ways.
You can't pick him up. He's available
in an 8-man right now, but he's probably not available in a lot of 10-mans.
Yeah.
Who knows? If you got a little extra space or resources, maybe try to trade for him if you need a tight end.
That's something too. Just quickly put a pin in that. This is probably your most leagues last week to trade. Usually week 11 is a lot of the deadline. So if you're on the bubble or something like that, and you need some pieces, like now's your last chance, basically. So.
And we're moving on to the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants. If you are a Colts fan, sorry, not Giants, the Jets. If you are a Colts fan, I am sorry. They just don't look good. Even with Joe Flacco at quarterback, Michael Pittman is dead. He didn't
play last week. He was out.
I know, he's dead. That's what I'm saying. He's just no longer relevant to fantasy football. On the field, off the field, doesn't matter. Alec Pierce had a good game. Jonathan Taylor, I think, had a serviceable game. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Josh Downs had a serviceable game, low double digits. I'm taking the Jets though. I think the
I'm
Jets.
too.
I think the Jets are going to do this teeter-totter crap and eventually miss the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'll take the Jets as well. I do think I disagree though with Michael Pittman. He hasn't been great, but he's been okay with Joe Flacco. He just was hurt this week. So
Would you play him?
in a flex if I had to.
Would you play
If you
him?
had to.
Yeah, okay, let's play the magical game here. Tyler Lockett.
Michael Pittman.
Okay.
Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, Chuba.
No, Chuba's been balling. Chuba, that's ain't close.
It's too
Tony
high.
Pollard.
Yeah, okay, you're getting closer. Tony Pollard.
It's probably matchup dependent, but I lean Pollard, but it's matchup dependent.
We can get closer.
I don't know. I have him in Dynasty. Let's just like really quickly
DeAndre Hopkins.
go. Probably Hopkins. That's
Calvin
probably
Ridley.
farther.
Calvin
Dude,
Ridley.
that's not close.
Calvin Ridley for sure now.
Yeah, he's balling right now.
George
Okay, let me
Pickens.
get Michael Pittman's line. George Pickens, that's not close either. He's been good. Okay. Do we know the exact weeks that we had?
Okay, here you go. Here's a perfect line. Tyrone Tracy Jr.
I'm playing him. I'm not even
So
joking.
he's kind of been good too, yeah.
It's not looking
Um,
great for Michael Pittman.
Okay. I don't exactly know when we had Joe Flacco. I know there was a stint in the middle where he played Pittsburgh. 9 targets, 6 catches for 113 yards. He played Jacksonville, 8 targets, 5 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. He played Tennessee, 5 targets, 3 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. I know for a fact all of those were Joe Flacco. So my point is, it was either a good amount of catches with a lot of yards, or he scored a touchdown. And in 2 of those matchups, one was Pittsburgh and one was Tennessee, where they're supposed to be good against the pass. So not been good, but those were with Flacco, and those were also those weeks where he said, I'm going to be on IR because of my back, and then played through it. So I don't know that he's dead. Might be a guy that
He's on the table, needing
I think
revived.
that he might be a guy that you can go trade for like dirt cheap, and then like you're calling your shot that like maybe he has a good playoff run for you. I don't know that it's worth it necessarily, but if you can get him for really cheap, might not hurt.
I said that might be fair. Did we all make picks there? We all went Jets. All right, moving on to Jacksonville at Detroit.
Too easy.
We're
Detroit,
taking
yeah,
Detroit.
just keep them moving. Injuries to note. Injuries to note. You have Trevor Lawrence, probably going to miss a good portion of time. They're saying that the AC joint sprain he had is pretty significant, I guess. So
Mac Jones
it's
show.
going to be Mac Jones. That's going to hurt Brian Thomas Jr. That's going to hurt
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
You're not
If
starting
anything,
Ingram.
in my opinion, if anything, this helps really both running backs, Etienne and Bigsby, only because they're going to have to run more, and then there's probably going to be more checkdowns. To that point, Bigsby left the game, didn't come back, I believe. So something to monitor. So keep an eye on that. And then obviously on the other side of the ball, you had Laporta have a shoulder injury. They are calling it day to day. So I have hopes because I need him that he'll keep playing. But
But the Lions don't.
no, they don't need him.
All right, we are moving on to Las Vegas at Miami. First of all, do we have an update at the Miami game tonight? What's going on?
17-9. Dolphins are winning in the fourth quarter.
Who's got the ball?
Just started. The Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Oof. All right. Vegas at Miami. Vegas is just not good. Has been in shambles. I'm taking Miami.
I'm taking Miami as well. What's that face for?
I don't. This is one of those games that like I don't see how Miami loses, but something's
taking
telling me
Las
the
Vegas?
Raiders. Yeah, give me the Raiders. Just, I
Great
don't
game
know.
for us.
I got a feeling for some reason. only really thing to note, at least as of now, obviously they're playing, so injuries could happen, but it was reported that Tyreek Hill has a torn ligament in his wrist that he's currently playing through.
But he lost November.
Rip.
Yeah, tough look. But yeah, keep that in mind. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's something that like you can just play through and not really have any issue with catching, or
He looks all right
I
tonight.
have no idea. But he got a touchdown tonight, so whatever.
All right, we're moving on to Los Angeles Rams at New England. I am taking the Rams, and
Me too.
blowout fashion. This guy.
Great game for us.
I'm taking the Rams.
We
I don't
gotta
think it's a blowout.
We gotta
though. I
stop
think it's
convincing
close.
him.
I don't think we have any major injuries there. Hunter Henry had a
I mean,
week, but
yeah, Hunter Henry wasn't good, but I mean,
that's an
it's the same old people. Demario Douglas and Jalen Polk are pretty, but they're gonna catch a touchdown here and there. Hunter Henry obviously had a bones week, but that's pretty abnormal. And then Ramondre's still getting all the work. It's just horrible for what he's getting. So you're just hoping he scores touchdowns.
All right, not too bad. Moving on to Cleveland at New Orleans. I'm gonna take Cleveland on this one. And
Yeah, no, I took New Orleans. They look good this week.
did they look good or did the Falcons look bad?
Give me New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
it could be a little bit of both.
I get it wrong.
I don't know.
Cleveland injury report. Someone was on there. Was it? Didn't Njoku play this week?
I think so. I mean, they might
No,
be
he
questionable or
didn't.
something.
He didn't.
Didn't?
No.
Oh, I missed that one.
Time to figure it out. On the spot, Njoku injury update. We are on the case.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Let's find out.
I just realized for the first, how many minutes are we into this? 25 minutes of this podcast. I had the Discord, all of the Discord names visible. I wasn't full screen.
Join our Discord, people, if you'd like to just talk someday.
I just realized they're on their bye.
Cleveland
Or am I
is?
dumb?
Okay. Yeah, they didn't play this week. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I didn't think he was hurt.
Yeah. They're on their bye.
Huh. Okay, never mind. Ignore that. We're crazy. Moving on. Minnesota at Tennessee. Tennessee's been putting up a little bit of fight. Sam Darnold's been looking a little bad.
It's
Dude,
my
I don't know
fault.
what happened in Jacksonville. That
Started
was
him.
wild.
I can't start him in fantasy. He has to ride the bench for me.
And for that reason, I'm taking Tennessee.
Dude,
Are you starting Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
No.
Nah, there's no way. It's gonna be the Vikings.
Vikings by 400.
I'm taking Tennessee. I think Calvin Ridley scores at least one touchdown. I think Pollard gets in the end zone. And I think Vikings continue to feed Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson.
Minnesota's defense has been sneakily very good. I'd be surprised if they score more than one touchdown.
Yes, but Mason Rudolph is a man with CTE and nothing to lose.
Yeah, dude.
And Brian Callahan is going to get fired if he doesn't do something.
Well, yeah, but we'll see.
Hey, gotta make up some ground somewhere. Moving on to the 405 slots, we have Atlanta at Denver, and Big Kirko looked bad, putting up 300 yards and an interception. No touchdowns for Kirk Cousins this week. It is the detriment of playing him in a fantasy quarterback spot. And I'm taking the Broncos in this one. I think the defense will withstand Kirk Cousins and the Falcons.
Give me Atlanta.
I think I'm taking
Kirko's
Denver
gonna-
as well.
Kirko's going to bring it back.
I do think Kirko has a good game, but I think Denver.
I think. Watch. Are you ready? Bijan 3-touchdown game.
There's just no way. There's just
Watch.
no way. Sutton's been consistently getting in the end zone. Bo Nix has been consistently playing well. I don't think there's anything consistent about the Falcons right now. Even against the Ravens, the Broncos didn't play horribly fantasy-wise. And against the Chiefs, obviously, they got boned like every other team does. So I would like to file my grievance because I picked the Broncos to win that game. But we'll see.
I would have loved to see that.
It
They can't keep getting away with it.
Phantom illegal man downfield didn't get called. Holding didn't get called. 18 freaking penalties didn't get called. Whatever. It's sickening. But
it's nice to know that Al Michaels said something last Thursday in the Bengals game. Again, it's the Bengals, but I'm more just speaking like generalizing.
Well, it wasn't only him. There was a lot of news outlets that said something. A lot of sports commentators got on Twitter afterwards and were talking about it.
I'm not just referencing the fact that like Al Michaels after the 2-point attempt came out and was like, how many games? Like this has been like a very common problem like across the league this year where like games are just being decided by penalties that like were blatantly obvious not being called, or you'll go back and watch something and you're just like, where was the whole like I don't understand.
The fact that you can get a replay assist to pick up a flag, but not a replay assist to put down a flag is the biggest pile of dog crap I've ever heard in my life. That is, they literally explained on air that there's someone in their ear telling them that's a penalty on the spot in real time, and they can't put a flag down. It's like, that's crap. And like, it's annoying. If
you could throw a challenge flag up until the play call, I don't understand why you can't throw a yellow flag. It's just a different color. It's the same thing. Like,
I don't understand. There's just no logical reason that shouldn't be a thing. It's annoying. You're talking about at least three Bengals games now that have been taken away from us. That wouldn't have been a guaranteed win. So 2, I would say, that have been taken away as a win because of terrible officiating. Possibly 3 or 4. That's a completely different season. You're talking about an MVP for Joe Burrow if he's winning.
It's not even the Bengals though. Like you saw the Chiefs, like they got bailed out on a non-false start a couple weeks ago.
The face mask against Darnold that didn't get called.
They got the face mask against Darnold. They got bailed out against the Falcons. Kyle Pitts like open in the end zone, gonna catch it, gets tackled.
Last night
they didn't throw
last night's game, the no DPI call against the Lions, draped over the Houston.
Just tackled him.
It's just
I don't understand how many times we're going to get down to under 2 minutes here with the team driving, and they're just like, I don't understand the logic of like a umpire or a referee in that moment deciding like, okay, now I'm going to let them get aggressive and physical. It's like,
or the flip side of
call it the same.
Or the flip side of, or now I'm going to stop letting them be aggressive and just call it.
It's like whatever you've done, like you should be just doing continually. Like I don't understand what's happened.
Doesn't make any sense. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And if I keep talking about it, I'm going to get even more frustrated. So we're going to move on to Seattle at San Francisco. For the last 2 weeks, I've wanted to take Seattle. I think 2 weeks ago I did, but last week I knew better. Because you know what? I said that coaching staff, not much going on up here. Geno Smith is unraveling in front of our eyes. He's having meltdowns on the field at rapid pace. And for that reason, I'm taking the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey didn't look amazing, didn't look superhuman, but 17 points in his return. We'll take that all day.
I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah, Niners. I don't think this one's close.
Freaking what is going on with Seattle? What is wrong with DK Metcalf? Where is Tyler Lockett?
The problem is, okay, Tyler Lockett's 1 trillion years old. That's his problem.
Hey,
that dude's been bald for about 40 years now.
There's another Lockett coming through college.
I saw that. No, in all seriousness, last year I said it. I didn't think Lockett was that. You drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, you can't draft a guy that high and then use him the way you did last year. Like drafting a wide receiver in the first like 4 picks and then making him the third string guy, then they can't do it. And like maybe the other 2 guys are better. Like I'm not even getting into that argument. It's just like that'd be like drafting Joe Burrow as the Bengals and then being like, we're gonna sit him for a couple
Well,
years. It's like you just
a lot of people, which is crazy. This is completely off topic. A lot of people are saying that's what they should have done now because quarterbacks are getting thrown into the fire. And I saw, who was it? Freaking Colin Coward or whatever was comparing the Ravens to the Bengals before the game, saying how they drafted Lamar and let him sit behind Joe Flacco, and how we drafted Joe and made him basically start with a new coach, and how the Bengals are poverty and we have no consistency. And it's like, dude, you can't draft a first overall and let him sit there. Like, he knew what he was getting into. Like, he knew he was going to go start there. Plus, let's not ever act like Lamar Jackson was as ready to play in the NFL as Joe Burrow was coming out of college. Like, that's not a 1-to-1 comparison at all. Like, I hate when people do that. Like, they're not the same. Like,
right.
People aren't failing these quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks just aren't as good as other quarterbacks. They're not ready to start. And so they sit. Like, it's what it is.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Tyler Lockett, I don't know why they used him the way they did last year. And you're seeing it this year. I just think he's worked his way into the starting role, Jackson Smith-Njigba specifically, to the point where he is earning targets. And so DK is going to get his fair share, but the problem right now, like you said, is just Geno. I don't know if it's play calls.
He looks angry. He looks confused.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just like the throws that he was making last year was like he led the league, or he had like a really high completion percentage. He had a lot of easy targets, and then he was making the big time throws. And it's like this year, it's like you see DK Metcalf open, and then like not even getting a look. So I don't know if it's just confusion or what, but I think it's over. I think they're a middle of the pack team.
I agree. Moving on to the 4:25 game, we've got the dreaded Kansas City at Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo.
Buffalo. Give me Buffalo.
Don't do it.
I do it.
You freaking gay. There's just no way. Josh Allen, I'm not a Josh Allen lover as a football player. I've never thought that he was elite. I do think he's playing the best football of his career right now, and I think Patrick Mahomes is playing the worst football of his career. That being said, Patrick Mahomes might have the best defense of his career, but I think that Josh Allen is getting ready to ram the Chiefs.
I hope so.
I hope so.
But I don't see it.
The Chiefs are barely scraping out wins against good and bad teams. It has to come crumbling down.
The only injuries related to note, you have Amari Cooper still with wrist and Keon Coleman with a wrist. And Keon Coleman has already been ruled out for Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there with these wrist surgeries.
Noodle wrists.
It's not good.
No,
it's not good. But yes,
bonding.
let's all hope for a Buffalo win despite Nick's predictions. Because we do not like Kansas City here in the great city of Cincinnati. Moving on to the 8:20 game, Cincinnati at Los Angeles Chargers. Joe Burrow said it before the loss to the Ravens. We could lose 7. We could lose 2 more. My brain just stopped working. I don't know what just happened. We could lose 2 more on the season. We lost to the Ravens. I don't think that the Chargers is one of those losses. If it is, I'm not going to be offended because we don't really play that many good teams left. I think you Chargers and the Steelers are the biggest threats left on the schedule just because it's unlikely.
the Broncos still there too.
Well, only reason I don't think the Steelers are that great of a team, but the only reason I say the Steelers is because it's unlikely we sweep a division opponent, because specifically the Bengals have been terrible against division opponents. But that all being said, I'm taking the Bengals.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I'm taking the Bengals.
Offensive shootout, Bengals are going to take it. Freaking with or without T. Higgins. At this point, love you, T, but
He very well may just sit
can't
at this point.
can't pay a $35 million a year to do what you're doing. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's this is the classic chicken or the egg. He deserves money because he's so good, but he doesn't deserve money because we can't get him to stay healthy enough to be out there. And to that point, this is a worst case scenario situation in the sense that he's not going to play because he's on a tag. So why would he risk an injury? But the way to get the money from us in particular is to play. So it's just like a bad situation. I this is to the point now with him where I do think that genuinely, like, any stubbed toe is like
He's not good.
2-3 weeks.
I think the Bengals need to heavily consider trading him for a high pick or a defensive player. And I'm not sure Jermaine Burton's going to work out. I don't know if you saw it or not Sunday. Again, even the few snaps he was in, Jamar and Joe are directing him pre-snap. And it's just like, dude, you can't be getting directed every snap that you're in the game. It's just not going to work out.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I'm hoping that the debacle of him getting the nod. So 2 weeks ago, they told him, you're going to be the guy and we're going to build a game plan around you. And then that's when the whole thing happened where he skipped out on team meetings, went to the casino. I'm hoping after that there is a level of, there's a fine line where, like, as a player, as a coach, as an organization, you're going to go to this guy and you're going to be like, listen, we're going to do what we can here, but obviously you're an adult and, like, you need to grow up. And so I'm hoping that this is like the turning point in the sense that, to what you just said, like, he doesn't know what he's doing yet. But I'm going to hope.
And it's bad if normal people can tell that he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, yeah, and my point is, I'm hoping that this is the turning point of that. Well, I'm hoping that incident that he had where he missed practice, went to the casino, is an eye opener where he can go, okay, I need to reel it in now. And last week he didn't know what he was doing, but I'm hoping, like, in the coming weeks you see, like, a progress of getting better. But I don't have high hopes.
I did see this week that TJ Hushmanzada is one of our wide receiver coaches, and he said that he had a very long one-on-one with Jermaine Burton this week. So I'm hoping that maybe he could talk some sense into him. For those of you youngins, if you ever watch this or listen to this, he was a very good wide receiver too for the Bengals for a long time.
TJ Hushmanzada.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
I
think the frustrating part is that obviously Yoshi doesn't have the physical talent, but you could tell that they've stopped investing a lot of reps to Yoshi because of the investment into Burton. And it's like, I understand why, because Burton clearly has the more natural talent and physical advantage, but at the same time, it's like you could see Yoshi clearly getting better. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard, but you have to try to see what you got with the guy that you drafted that high for this intention if you're getting ready to get rid of T. Higgins. So we'll see what happens, but we all think the Bengals are going to take it. So that is that. Moving on to the Monday night game, we have Texans, right, at Dallas. That's going to be Texans. I'm going to take the Texans. Yeah. Dallas looks atrocious. We did hear some injury update about Dak that I think he's going to avoid the IR is what we were seeing.
The whole situation's weird because the initial report was hamstring. And then they came out and said, it's worse than we thought. There's a good chance that it's a partial tear off the bone. And then they came out after that and said, it is torn off the bone. He's going to miss the season. It's kind of like, okay, whatever. And then now they're reporting that, like, they're going to do what they can to mitigate him going on the IR, which I don't really know.
Don't really
I don't know. It's weird.
understand that because they're in a spot that they're not really playing that well. So we'll see
I think
what
this is the
happens.
same situation the Bengals are in as Dallas as a team is probably looking at the schedule and thinking mathematically we're not eliminated, and on paper we have the pieces to theoretically be good. So
Mhm.
it's probably a situation where they're just not willing to throw the towel in yet.
If only CeeDee Lamb could see. He sees good.
For
Yeah,
real.
Jerry
dude,
Jones.
did you watch that replay? Turk Ferguson could have had that easy, and he did one of the short arm things because he knew CD was behind him. I
Jerry
needed
Jones
that.
like joked it off too. He's like, "What do you want me to do? Tear it out of the stadium? Let me get right on that." It's like, dude, like he's your number one receiver trying to get you a Super Bowl win. Like maybe not trash the guy right after he. Like I don't know. Is that what it sounds like when the Bengals organization talks? I'm sure it is, but
Probably.
it's
I
just like
I I've grown to what I think is an unbiased fan in the sense that I do think the Bengals organization is run by a bunch of plumbers. So
I definitely don't think we're the worst. I think there are definitely worse organizations out there. I don't think we're the bottom of the barrel.
Carolina clearly right now is the bottom.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's not the worst, but time and again you watch the Bengals. I mean, realistically, if you want to be like blunt and honest, the Jamar, Joe Burrow picks were kind of a lucked into them type situation in the sense that we were horrible, got Joe, you got Joe, and he was figuring it out, and then had a major injury that set us back the entire season, which gave us Jamar. So that's not normal. And then the T. Higgins pick was what Jamar was supposed to be. We just basically got two years in a row. And then from that moment on, from the dawn of time, as far as I can remember, the Bengals picks have been offensive linemen who
but
get hurt in
Die.
but
preseason
they finally
or
made a good one.
horrible.
Amarius Mims has been
He's been good.
he's been
I don't
very
want to jinx
good.
it yet, but he's been good. And then really everything else, like other than the 1 year we went to the Super Bowl, the other thing the Bengals are known for is basically not doing any offseason moves or definitely no mid-season
We do
trade.
well, yeah. We don't make any, but even I think the offseason stigma has to go away because we've been making offseason moves. They might not have panned out, but we've been
Well,
making a lot
that's
of
the thing.
offseason moves.
It's my point with the offseason moves is that year we made the playoff run, that like offseason build up to there. You went out and you basically rebolstered the entire defense. That was when you signed Trey Hendrickson. You still had Jesse. Did we have Jesse Bates then?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Jesse Bates. You
Logan
still had.
Wilson.
You went. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. You went out and you signed Chidobe Awuzie. You went out and signed Von Bell. You went out and signed Eli Apple at that time, and also Mike Hilton at that time.
And
Like,
freaking Trey Waynes, who was horrible.
yeah.
But
But my point is, you went out and got a bunch of that particular offseason, and then from there, if you look back, and I'm not joking, it's like we've lost two and then signed one, and the one signing we would do to like offset the two is the classic Bengals like old player who hadn't done much but had one kind of off the wall random year where it was like, hey, they weren't that bad. Geno Stone.
I
He
think
was nothing. And then last year had a Pro Bowl season out of the blue, and we were like, that's who we want to go get. And then he's horrible again.
I think defense has been particularly bad in the signings. Geno Stone, Von Bell have been bad. They re-signed Pratt, which was good. They extended Logan Wilson, which was good. I think offense, though, I don't know what people want them to do. They went out and got an entire offensive line, and they just died. Like
Yeah.
one by one, they just fell. Like you
But
went and
even
got
still,
you went and got
they're
Lyle
okay.
Collins from the Texans, who was supposed to be a top offensive lineman, and he came to the Bengals and was terrible. And then we went and
Yeah.
got Trent Brown, who for a year deal, who's not supposed to be awesome, but like he's enormous and was supposed to be good, and he died. And it's like, okay, so the guys we've actually signed or drafted have been better. Like Mims, Volson, they're both actually still playing in the line. They've been good. Kappa has been a great addition to the line. That guy from the Bucks, I can't remember his name.
That was Kappa.
No, he's oh yeah, Cap. Karras is the other one
Ted
from
Karras,
the
Ted Karras,
Patriots.
from the Patriots.
They've all been great. And then I don't love the Moss signing, but they got rid of Mixon, so I mean you got to go get somebody.
I think that's the big thing. I think offensively, that's my problem. Specifically with what you like. Look at Mixon, what he's doing this year. He's balling for the Texans.
But
One,
we knew
2. What did they sign him for?
17 million or something.
For 3 years,
Yeah.
right? So break that down. What's 17 divided by 3? 6 million a year, 6.25.
A little under
that's
that. No, it's like
Less-
5. A
less
little
than
under
6.
6.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's what we were offering him. And then we offered him that last year. We literally paid him 5 last year. And then this year we were like, no, we can't afford that. And then traded him for a 7th. And it's like, but the my issue with the logic through all of this is you couldn't pay Joe Mixon that money. And then you sign Zach Moss for that money. Like it just didn't make sense. Like that's what killed me. Like I don't know if they thought they were just trying to get out of the offseason drama because Mixon had some consistent issues, but time and again, like he did. I don't know.
I think we're
He's
also all just sitting here wondering what the heck are you doing with the money if you're not. We've still yet to spend, other than Joe. What are we doing?
Right.
I mean, it's almost a guarantee Chase gets signed in the offseason, so we know that's coming. The problem is you're gonna lose you're gonna lose a third of the team, and then you're gonna be in the crapshoot. Is if Chase gets what he wants, which is even more of a reality now because he's having his best season ever. You're gonna lose Hendrickson. You're gonna lose T. Higgins. You're gonna lose probably a defensive lineman. Hubbard probably has to walk because he's old as crap, and unless he takes a super friendly deal. You've got a bunch of old defenders that are rolling off. You've probably got linemen that are rolling off. It's just not going to be pretty. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. But that wraps up this week's matchups. Do we have a game update, Nicholas?
Dolphins just kicked a field goal to go up 23-12 with about 2.5 minutes left.
Oh no.
Do we believe in Matty Ice?
Not with that amount of time, I do not.
Yeah, you're gonna score 11 points in 2.5.
It's gonna be tough. Hopefully we just get a lot of dink and dunks to Cooper Kupp. But we are moving on to the one, the only, the best segment of the night, Nick's Picks, where he tells you his top waiver ads that are available in
less than 50% of leagues.
Thank you.
Sorry, I thought you were finishing that.
I was going to. My brain just stopped working. It's shut down on me. But here we go, Nick. Take it over.
Starting off QB, Russell Wilson. Duh. He plays Baltimore this week. He's coming off a 21-point game. He looks pretty good for fantasy, so he's your number one if you need a quarterback. Number 2 would be Justin Herbert.
Hey,
Um,
enough of this.
What?
Stop picking people that are playing the Bengals.
Listen, I can't help it. Justin Herbert plays the Bengals, who they're terrible, and Justin Herbert is actually running the ball again, so his ankle's probably better. He's averaging 21 points over the last 3 weeks, which I said he's back, and nobody believed me. So he's another guy if you need a quarterback. They're both probably playable for the rest of the year, I'd say, but definitely playable for this week. Running backs are gross. You're kind of taking your shot. I'm saying Tyler Algier because he had 11 carries last game. But I mean, Bijan is gonna take all the work, so I mean, you're kind of just drafting a handcuff.
Well, I will say he did have a couple red zone opportunities that he continually got stuffed on. Like there was like 3.
Yeah.
So
Listen to this
just be
pain.
mindful.
2 weeks ago, I need a running back. I pick up Tank Bigsby, less than 3 points. This week, I need a running back. I pick up Ray Davis, less than a point.
Oh,
I'm gonna win somehow, but it's like I've just been hitting the pooper in waiver wire running backs, but I have to because my guys just keep dying. But continue. It's true. The running back waiver wire is hot cross buns.
Cam Akers is the other backup. He had 13 carries, and Aaron Jones is questionable. So if Aaron Jones is out, Cam Akers might be worth something if you're really desperate. But the running backs are kind of gross right now. Wide receivers, Alec Pierce. He had 7 targets, 81 yards, and a touchdown last game. It's kind of risky. It's weird to say that, to play a Colts wide receiver, because we were glazing him at the beginning of the year, and Joe Flacco, father time, caught up. He doesn't look very good now.
He ran out of bench juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky Purcell is the next. He had 6 targets, 73 yards, and a touchdown. He had the same amount of targets as Debo. And San Francisco is obviously a very high-powered offense, so really almost anybody on San Francisco's offense is worth playing. Moving on to tight ends, Theo Johnson. He plays for the Giants. He is a nobody, but he had 6 targets, and the Giants are probably going to lose every game they play, so they're always going to be throwing. So if you need a tight end,
fantasy football update. Brian Dable said that they're evaluating the quarterback position today. So
I did see that.
Danny Jones, old Danny Dimes, might be getting the bench.
Yeah, but your backup there is Drew Lock, so
Dude, just let him go. Who cares?
Hey, he was on the coattails of Geno Smith last year, or 2 years ago, whenever that was. Last tight end, Will Dissly. He plays for the Chargers now. And Hayden Hurst. They're both, apparently Justin Herbert likes throwing to Chargers tight ends right now.
He hope Chargers players. That's how that works.
Don't play any Bengals wide receivers. Eli Apple plays for the Chargers.
Uh-oh. But yeah, Will Dissly had 6 targets last game. He's averaging, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but he's been, let's see if I can pull it up. 6 targets this week. Last week he only had 3, but the 2 weeks before that he had 18 combined. So Will Dissly he's kind of a target magnet for Justin Herbert. But that wraps up the waiver wire ads this week.
Alrighty, thank you, Nick, so much for those waiver wire ads. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. Remember, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. It's now X, YouTube, Shorts. Watch everything. Leave comments. Interact. I had some guy in there commenting about Detroit Lions, thinking we're all Lions haters on TikTok. And I'm like, dude, we like the Lions here. Cincinnati has no beef with the Lions. We like the Lions.
In fact, if the Bengals get eliminated, I'm definitely rooting for the
We
Lions.
root for the Lions. Yep. All right. So, interact with us. It's a good time. Thank you for hanging out with us. Please. What?
You said interact with us. We'll have a good time. That's weird.
Yes, dude. In a clean manner. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you to those who have served, who are serving to make this stupidity possible. God bless America. God bless our troops. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, start your engines. All right. Have a good night.